Hey there, thinkers! Welcome back to Critical Hit. My name is Est, and I wanted to go over this article that I showed you yesterday. In my last video, I showed like a little snippet, but this article is written by Eric W. Dolan. According to a new study in communications research, which what he has learned from this study is honestly what everyone already knew. Female gamers prefer playing highly sexualized characters, despite disliking them. And I will have to say here, there is only a small portion, and I mean a small portion of female gamers who dislike playing badass women who also look like 10s. However, I do have a few things to go over here, but before I do, we have a small request. If you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button, smashing that like, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. We would greatly appreciate this, since this will help us appease those YouTube algorithm gods. So, we do thank you. And now, let's jump into this new research on female video game characters uncovers a surprising twist from SciPost. Alright, now that that's out of the way, here's the gist. Apparently, if you throw a sword and skimpy armor on a female, she's somehow both a capable warrior and a walking negative effect. The study points out that even though a strong female character can hold her own in combat, any hint of cleavage or thigh highs makes her strength moot. Let's stick with the idea that strength and sex appeal must be mutually exclusive. And here comes the kicker. While these female participants reportedly dislike highly sexualized characters, guess who they chose to play when handed the controller? Yep, you guessed it. It's like the researchers are baffled that these women, given the freedom to pick a character, go for the exact same archetype they're supposed to resent. So this groundbreaking revelation here is that female character designs actually matter. As if anyone who's ever picked up a controller didn't already know that. According to this study, people see characters differently based on if they're playing them or just watching. So apparently, if you're controlling the character, you're more invested in how strong or skilled she is. But if you're just watching, well, you might just notice the sex appeal a tad bit more. Wow, imagine the headlines. Study shows that gamers notice attractive characters when they're attractive. I mean, who would have guessed that? Apparently, we've been just waiting for an academic confirmation that humans, visual creatures that we are, perceive power and beauty differently, depending on how closely we're involved. I mean, it's almost like when you care about the character that you're controlling, you seem to notice them more than just eye candy. How groundbreaking. I mean, maybe someone should fund a study to let us know if water is wet. So why is sexualization in gaming a concern? So here we go again, people, with the timeless debate about female characters in video games. Critics are always quick to point out these characters are often designed to turn heads. With curves that defy physics, and armor that couldn't even stop a stiff breeze, much less a sword, some researchers are boldly trying to tell us that slapping a strong and capable label on a scantily clad character will balance things out. Because of course, if you give your femme fatale a few more lines of dialogue and maybe a tragic backstory, it's like the chainmail bikini isn't even there, right? The study's authors apparently wanted to test if sprinkling these strength cues could actually make players forget they were looking at a supermodel moonlighting as a warrior. They even looked at how players react differently when watching versus actively playing. Because, of course, your level of respect for a character's narrative depth obviously skyrockets once you take control of them in combat. So, what's the verdict? Does strong, independent character development really make up for the Victoria's Secret aesthetic? Or is it just window dressing on a pixelated pinup? And then Teresa Lynch is out here unveiling the shocking mystery that sexism pervades gaming. Revolutionary stuff, people. She delves deep into the very same issues that have been screamed from the rooftop for ages. Now, female characters in games aren't exactly lining up to take home Character of the Year awards for their well-rounded personalities. And yet, somehow, millions of women and non-binary players still flock to games, dodging stereotype after stereotype, like it's some twisted obstacle course where instead of prizes, they win a handful of online harassment and dismissive comments. But Lynch, in her infinite wisdom, wants to know why they even bother. Why would anyone willingly subject themselves to a medium that's supposedly a hostile cesspool? It's a wonder. right? I mean, maybe, just maybe, women and non-binary people play games because they actually enjoy them. And maybe because, crazy thought here, people, gaming is fun. So experiment 1 was viewing female characters, and this groundbreaking study, I kid you not, reveals that when it comes to female characters, strength just isn't enough to overcome the almighty power of a tiny outfit. Turns out that female participants weren't super excited about playing as a scantily clad woman in hyper-sexualized outfits. I mean, who would have guessed that? Right? Apparently, formidable doesn't quite do it for them if it's paired with, say, leather straps as an armor choice. And this fighting fuck toy theory? Absolutely enlightening. Turns out that combining biceps with barely there clothing creates a whole new level of objectification. But hey, here's the kicker. These strong, sexualized characters were rated as more feminine. Meanwhile, characters who were just strong without a heavy dose of sexualization, yeah, those didn't rank so high on the likability scale either. Maybe next time they should consider an outfit that can both reflect strength and cover a bit more skin. It goes on to gender-based preferences and an unexpected twist. So according to this research, women apparently dislike overly sexualized characters, right? But until they were given a choice, and then whoosh, they picked up the same characters they just said that they didn't like, which is fascinating because it's like saying I hate chocolate cake and then secretly eating a slice in the restroom at a party. And the men? Well, they're supposedly all about the strong, less sexualized characters. And I mean, sure. That's why half the male-driven game design looks like an armory threw up on a bodybuilder. Because apparently the average guy wants to pick the emotionally well-rounded knight in reasonable armor, right? But don't worry, Lynch has a theory for that too. She thinks that maybe women pick these sexualized characters to connect with their femininity. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but video game character choices don't usually come with a deep dive into our psyche. Like, sometimes we just pick what looks fun. But whatever, who doesn't love a convenient theory? So, experiment 2 was controlling female characters, which this is so rich. In the second experiment, they actually had people play the game rather than just passively watch, which is groundbreaking stuff here, people. Participants got to choose from 4 character types in a combat session, which in science speak probably means that we let people smash buttons and occasionally strategize. And well, guess what? Characters with high strength were seen as competent, but lost points for warmth and approachability, because obviously we all expect our fictional battle warriors to have cozy tea parties between rounds, right? Female players in particular rated these strong characters as more competent than male players did. This finding wouldn't have anything to do with women often having to prove themselves in areas that value competence over warmth. No, it's simply that strong equals capable to them. The lesson? Apparently, if you give players control, they start noticing that strength could mean skill, which is a real eye-opener. So her key takeaways and future research? Well, according to this groundbreaking study, when players dive into gameplay, they magically transform into their characters, practically wearing their attributes like a brand new outfit. Well, Lynch is throwing some serious shade on her own study, noting that it's a bit limited since she only dabbles in the world of fighting games, because nothing says deep character analysis quite like a bunch of pixelated fighters pummeling each other. I mean, she's clearly aiming higher, hoping to dive into how narrative and long-term character interactions might actually shape players' attitudes towards female representation. And Lynch and her crew are now on a noble quest to explore the sunshine and rainbows of the female characters in gaming, while also noting the dark clouds of representation issues. Because, let's be real here, even if the portrayal of women in games may be a hot mess, many players still find joy in their gaming escapades. So who knew that even flawed representation could still hold a place in our hearts? So, in summary, I suppose this study reveals how these characters are designed can either empower them as strong figures or reduce them to mere eye candy. I mean, what a shocking revelation. Like, developers are being urged to rethink their character designs because apparently how a virtual woman looks can affect players' enjoyment and their views on gender. I mean, who would have thought that pixels could have such a societal impact? However, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And hey, before you go, subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. As always, my name is Est, and I'm signing off now. So I'll see you in the next one. Toodles!